All right. Thanks everyone for stopping by our weekly media session. We have head coach Corey Close and student athletes Lindsey Corsaro and Natalie Chou. We'll start with an opening statement from coach, and then we can open up to questions.
Yeah, just, really excited for, I'm very humbled that a lot of teams that have gone on pause and COVID protocols and all those things. And I'm just really excited and for an opportunity to play 2 games and for just the great sacrificial work our players and our medical staff have done to try to stay safe. And so just really going into this weekend with a spirit of gratitude and excited to compete.
Perfect. We can start off with questions. Kahari, go ahead.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? How y'all doing? I wanted to ask, like women's basketball has really been trending lately. I see you guys like supporting. It's been like the wave. And, what do you guys see in the future of women's basketball?
Well, I can start, but I think Natalie and Lindsey probably have a better perspective, but I just think the sky's the limit. And I really want to give credit to the WNBA for sort of the way they set the tone this summer for being involved, not only at the highest level of them mastering their craft, but also making a difference and trying to use their platform to make a difference in the lives of others and to make a difference in our society. And in the process, inspiring so many, not just little girls, people, humans across the country. And I think that's what makes women's basketball unique. It's not that men's basketball doesn't do it, but I just think there's a real commitment to not only compete at the highest levels and be elite at mastering our craft, but also to impact others through sport and to truly inspire and to have life-changing experiences through moving the sport forward. And I think it's been bigger than ourselves, right? It's not just about Natalie or Lindsey or even UCLA. It's about women's basketball and women in sport, and especially on National Girls and Women in Sport Day. Wow, what a cool thing to be a part of. And so I hope in several years you're not going to see the gap, that it's not going to be 4% of ESPN sports coverages of women. I think you're going to see more and more of that. I hope you're going to see units and financial gain from the NCAA tournament for women as well as for the men's side. I'm hoping that sponsors will get excited about marketing and brand partnerships through women's sports. And I think there's the right heartbeat along with that, but I'm really excited for some corporate sponsorship opportunities and for some media coverage at the level in which the women are competing.
Yeah, just to go off of that, just truly grateful for all the amazing trailblazers and role models that have been playing and are older than us and in front of us, because we wouldn't be where we are today without them. And like Coach Corey said, I know we've come a long way, but there's a long way. Like we still have a long way to go, and honestly, can't wait to help be a part of that.
And I got another question for Lindsey. Just coming away from Indianapolis, the Indianapolis area, like what's your perspective just living on the West Coast? How have you been enjoying that?
Yeah, I love it out here. Indianapolis is amazing, and I have a huge family, and they're all there. And I honestly didn't think I would go to college that far from home, but I ended up out here, and I love it. And I think it's been just a really cool opportunity to grow and experience something totally different than what I would experience back home. But it's still very near and dear to my heart back there.
Appreciate that.
Go to John.
Yeah, this is for whoever wants to answer. Last year, you guys kind of had a tough series up in Washington and got a close game against Washington State, and then Washington took one from you. What do you guys remember from last year going up to Washington, and how are you guys looking to kind of change the outcome this year?
In my career here, Washington State, especially Pullman, is a really challenging place to play. They play really well at home, and they always have a certain level of confidence about them when they play at home. And so I think going to Pullman on Friday, just knowing that we have to come there and take care of business from the jump, because they're the kind of team this year, and that if you let them get hot early, it's going to be a tough game. And so especially with them being at home, I think just going in with the mindset that we have to not have lapses and we have to take care of business from the start, because anytime you're on the road, there's a chance for the other teams to get hot quick.
I think so much of it this time of year, especially, is about matchups and styles of play. And, especially Washington, just their style of play, it really forced us to get out of, very systematic things. And it's really, you have to be able to read and react and handle their pressure and sort of play through chaos well. I think on the Washington State side, they have proven that they are tough. They're relentless. I think they really, they've proved what their record and what they've done and how they've played. Even in, I was watching their Oregon and Oregon State games a couple of weeks ago, and they didn't beat Oregon, but they led most of the game. And you look at just how they compete and their confidence in which they play. And, I just have a lot of respect for them. They're tough. They're together. Those Ledger Walker sisters have been incredibly impactful. And so, I'm excited about how we're going to have to show up. If you want to get a win in Pullman, as Lindsey said, it's a hard place to play. You better bring your A game. And this trip is going to demand that of us. And our team is pretty good at rising up to those level of challenge.
Go to Dave.
Coach, Charlize Ledger-Walker scored in double figures the first 12 games of her college career. She had in the 20s in the Oregon and Oregon State games, and then Stanford held her to 6 and to 2. What are the keys to the Bruins holding her down?
Well, I think that one of the keys is that the other players on their team have been trending down in terms of shooting the three. And that allows you to send some other, people to help out with Ledger Walker and Charlize. And so I just think that, we're going to really need to make her catches tough. That's one of the things I admired about what Stanford did. They just were really aggressive and physical before she ever caught the ball. And I think that they just made her work really, really hard. And, and I think too, as any time later in the year, people have studied and you have these incredible tendencies. We literally know every single time she has driven to the basket, what percentage to the left, what percentage to the right, did she stop in mid-range? We have her shooting percentages, we have her shot charts. You just get to the point that you have to do the next thing, because your comfort zone is gonna get blown. And this is her first go around at that, right? She's not ever had to go through that kind of scrutiny at that level. So she's not surprising anyone anymore, right? So everybody knows what she can do. She's earned our respect without question. But I think like any freshman, you have to sort of hit that wall and then go find a way around the wall. And I have no doubt that she will respond really, really well. But we're also going to have to learn from what Stanford did and make sure that we bring our A game and make her do things that are uncomfortable as well.
Thank you, Coach. I'm going to grab one for Sunday as well. Washington's had a tough time this year with COVID and with poor shooting. That's always been a tough building for the Bruins to play. What are going to be the keys when the Bruins face the Huskies on Sunday?
Well, to be really honest with you, I haven't watched as much film on them yet, but I just started watching my first game this afternoon. But I think the biggest thing for them is, it's assist turnover ratio is a really big deal. They're going to try to turn us over, get live ball turnovers so that they can get runouts, so that we can't set our defense and force personnel decisions and the way that they're having trouble scoring and specifically shooting the ball from the outside. So, I think that really it's going to start with us taking care of the ball. You know us well enough, Dave, to know that we always start with what's our defense going to do? How are we going to get stops? And we, of course, will build that from our foundation. But specifically against Washington, it's so important that you handle their pressure well and that you do things as a team to create easier shots for each other, because then you can set your defense and do some good things. But it's hard if they're able to get you sped up and out of rhythm.
And just one quick question for Lindsey and for Natalie. You're ranked 5th in one poll, 4th in the other, ahead of Connecticut. Can you push that out of your mind, or is that something that's going to be in your thoughts as you go up on this road trip?
As a team, we don't really talk about the rankings. We don't really focus on that because we know that in the Pac-12, like each game is hard, and that's enough energy and focus for us as a team. So we don't really talk about that. We are like really proud of what we've done this season, but we know that we have a long way to go. So stand.
Yeah, I agree. I think something that I really enjoy about our team and our staff is that we don't really get caught up in those rankings too much. And I think that allows a lot of freedom to just play freely, to not be caught up in what we wish we could be, and to also not be caught up in the pressure of what we need to be. And so I think it's a freeing way to play. So I'm grateful that our program doesn't put too much stock into that.
Well, I missed you guys. I wish I was going to be in Washington with you instead of in this room calling the game off of TV.
We miss you, Dave.
Thanks, Dave. We'll go back to Kahari.
I got a question for Lindsey and Natalie. When did that coaching start of you guys not talking about stats and get caught up in rankings and things of that nature? Like, when was that? Is that a USC women's basketball thing, or is just that's just this particular group?
I think it
Coach, you can talk on it too.
I think it starts from the top. I mean, ever since I've been here, Coach Corey and the staff has done a really good job of keeping us grounded, because the benchmark, they always stress it, like the benchmark for who we want to be is not like the number of the ranking, because we still have so much of our season left. And so it's more so about like day by day, can we get better every single day? And then the results will take care of itself. But if we thought like, oh, we're number 5 or we're number 4, then being satisfied with that, that's not the end goal. So I think it comes from the top and from our staff and the ways that they push us and kind of feed our minds as the season goes on.
It's really simple, Kahari, and the fact of, I think actually focusing on it and even talking about it takes us actually further away from how we want to play and where we want to grow to. I always say that if you have one eye on the end game or what your numbers are, that means you only have one eye on what it takes to actually get there. And we want everything, both feet in, our eyes completely focused on the process of what it takes to become great. We want all of our energy going in that direction. And as soon as you put any energy into something that, number one, are people's opinion, number two, is out of your control, you are actually taking away your chances of actually getting to your end game. And so I just don't want to waste my energy there, because it really doesn't have anything to do with our process of becoming great.
Go back to John.
Yeah, Coach, I know you're tired of probably answering questions about postponements, but do you know if any of these games are ever going to get rescheduled? Because I look at the schedule and they all say postponed, but it's running out of days in the season.
Well, I'm just really glad that I think we're going to get to our 13 mark. That's your minimum to be able to qualify for the NCAA tournament. So my focus is, are we playing our best basketball come NCAA tournament time? And are we healthy come tournament time? That's really it. I do think we are going to get some of them made up. But I think the conference is probably going to determine that based on whether or not, how the conference tournament ends up laying out, what are going to be the implications for getting the most teams in the NCAA tournament for March. And I think that will determine what matchups need to be played in the last couple of weeks. I really hope we get to make up, for instance, the Arizona game. I think our players were really excited about that opportunity. And, but again, I'm not going to control all that. So I have to be careful about, putting too much stock in any direction. But the reality, I do think we're going to be able to make up some of them. I do not think we will be able to make up all of them. But just by but a lot of that will be determined by what they decide with conference tournaments. And so, I think that will determine how much space you have and how many games you can actually make up.
We see Sue just joined. Sue, do you have any questions?
Oh, you're muted, Sue. Sue, you there?
Yeah, I thought I unmuted successfully. I didn't. I'm sorry. Ryan, I was just typing you an email. I'll finish it later, but I'm sorry I walked in the middle of the conversation. I've got a meeting going on this phone and other things. I don't want to be duplicating anything that was already asked.
No problem.
I need you guys to stay warm up there, though.
Yeah, we will.
Let me put on these. Let me just ask then, and I'm sorry if this already got asked, but just curious as to what your plans are for containing WSU. They kind of have a situation up there with Ledger Walker sisters, obviously, and it was a very interesting game last time. What kind of adjustments are you guys going to make going into the rematch?
Yeah, I think a couple things, we did talk a little bit about Charlize, but in general, I think it's really trying to make them work hard for their catches, to not make those easy catches. Also, we don't want to overhelp. They're such good passers, and passers like long skip passes that we really, the more we can guard the tunnel down the middle of the floor and be able to guard by ourselves, they're going to try to get us in switches and get into mismatches that they want. And the more that we can try to keep people in front and keep them out of the lane and not have to bring help, I think that's really key, because that's how they get their open spot and shoot threes. So, I think that's going to be a really big key for us. And and handling their pressure in the full court. They really did, I thought, bother us a little bit on the first game. And I think we've are much better now offensively in how we're setting and using screens. But I think that's going to be a real key factor, because anytime you can score efficiently, you're going to become a much better defensive team.
Maybe, thank you for that. And maybe just to follow up, whoever wants to take it, but I'm not trying to beat a dead horse, but charisma just seems to be, lighting even more of a fire with every game. What are you guys seeing from your end? You're like Lindsey's a veteran, Natalie's a veteran. When you look at this young kid, what are you seeing? Are you just like, what is the deal with this girl? Like, what's behind all this?
She's super fun to play with. It's fun to play with someone who can get hot as quick as her. Cause I feel like, yeah, from people I've played with, I think she's a person who can get hot the quickest, kind of out of nowhere. So that's fun. But I think just in the day to day, like for example, today we played one-on-one in practice, and like she got rebound after rebound after rebound on her own misses and just kept going. So I think it's like the motor that she has, to affect plays all the time. And she does that so consistently that it translates to things in the game, which is really fun.
That's a really good way to put it. Yeah, I really admire that you guys are kind of an egoless team. You work together, but like whoever seems to be doing well, everything's great. You just are excited for that person, and you guys really do kind of function together as a unit. That's probably what's helped you guys stay together for this whole season, right?
Well, I also have to give actually Lindsey and Natalie some credit. One of the things that it was hard for Charisma in the past year was that she didn't have as many lanes to attack, because, people were sagging off, with the way that Natalie's shooting the ball and the way that Lindsey's able to run the team, and we're able to move Charisma off the ball. When she got hot the last week against Arizona State, we were able to run so many different things for her to get scoring touches. And a lot of that credit goes to Lindsey and Natalie. And it's their selflessness, but also their different skill sets that enhance what Charisma is able to do.
Yeah, no, that's true. Nobody can function alone. And yeah, you guys, like I said, you guys just work together as one, and whoever may be in the front is in the front, but everybody else is totally pitching in. So I give the Bruins props. Excited that you guys get to play twice this weekend. Thanks, you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Sue. Any further questions here? All right.
Let me just say one other thing about it was interesting that you say that, Sue, but I just want to be really clear about how selfless Michaela's been. You talk about a selfless player. I mean, you when I watch film and I think about how much she gets beat up, how airborne she is, and how difficult it is through her. She's got 3 and 4 people on her. And just how hard she plays, despite how she feels. She has not been healthy the entire year. And I think one of our real keys in the next few weeks is getting her back into an easier rhythm. Games have been so hard on her, not only physically, but just mentally as well. And so, one of the strengths of our team and the selflessness of our team is that everyone wants that from Mick. You know, it's not about just getting your score to get buckets. It's about, you know, she sacrifices so much for our team night in and night out. And that's going to be a really key thing moving forward. And I just want to give her credit for how consistently hard she plays and how others centered she plays, even when it's not going her way. And it's just, it's greatly appreciated, I know, by her teammates and definitely by her head coach.
That's really nice of you to say that. She's such a hard worker. I sure hope she gets on the greatest WNBA teams and we can watch her play this summer.
All right, one last time. Any other questions here?
Thank you, everybody. We appreciate you guys showing up.
Yeah, thanks everyone. And there's one last quick message is if anyone has credential requests really early in advance for Oregon, Oregon State, or USC, feel free to pass them my way as early as possible. Is always appreciated. Thank you all for stopping by, and we will talk to you later. Have a great rest of your evening.
Thank you, guys.
Bye, everybody.